My name is Franz Gondoin. I'm a podiatrist in Carina Medical Center, and you're watching Extra Time. So to understand the distribution and the number of the cleans, we have to understand the biomechanics of the foot. For that, we're going to divide the foot in three parts. The back parts, the middle parts, and the forefoot. So, the rear foot, the back part of the heel area, has two main functions. The first, absorbing shocks while landing on the ground, for example, and also adapting to the ground. How? To absorb the shock, we get some special cells, fat cells in this part, as you can see. It looks like a bag with fat cells that absorbs the heel strike. And you know that when we hit the ground with the heel, we got some kind of shock waves that goes to the leg. The problem is that soccer shoes, especially football boots, bottom is quite hard and made with hard plastic that do not allow to absorb any shock. And that's why some players could have some injuries as shin splints in the tibia, for example. Also, the rear foot got some kind of special anatomic axis. We call it jakiej. This is an axis that goes through the calcaneus bones, the talus bones, and the navicular bones. And this axis that looks like that allows the foot to do inversion and eversion to adapt to the ground. The same problem is that the football boots sole block any movement in the back that do not allow to adapt to the ground. The middle part now of the foot, we can focus in the least front joint, which is this joint that makes in contact the three cuneiform bones with the first, second, and third base of the metatarsal, and the cuboid bones with the fourth and the fifth metatarsal. This joint allows us to do pronation and supination. Due to the lack of support in the middle part of the foot, which is perfectly flat here, the same here, it creates some kind of overloading pressure of the plantar surface, especially in the lateral edge of the foot, mainly on the foot which is standing on the ground, the stability leg, while kicking in the ball with the other foot. It's not rare to find some people or players that complain about pain in these bones, that overload these bones, especially the apophyseal, the process here, and that creates stress fracture. At last, the forefoot. Forefoot is very important, in fact, especially the main important joints is the metatarsal phalanges joint, the first one, this one. Why? Because it gets also two functions. The first function is the propulsion. It allows because of some muscles, as the long hallux flexus, which is this one here, very strong one, and this joint, which is the first metatarsal phalanges. Okay, which is important to know is that to walk, we need approximately 40 degrees of dorsal flexion. To run, we need approximately 60 degrees of dorsal flexion. If we do not have this range of motion here, we will have to compensate. For example, it's not rare to see some old people that get these bones, these joints blocked by some kind of disease, arthrosis, deviation of the bones like hallux valgus, for example, that cannot move these parts, these joints. And they have to compensate. How? Bending the knee and bending the hips. That's why they walk a little bit like that. We call that compensation. Okay, which is very important in the soccer shoes, is that good soccer shoes, good football boots, get some kind of plastic inserts exactly at the place where this joint should be. And it should be flexible to allow this range of motion, this propulsion. Okay? The same here. But the other parts of the sole of the football boots is almost impossible to twist. The second function, which is very important, is the pivoting movement. This one, that you can find in some other sports, like tennis or basketball, to avoid some players or just to do a forearm strike. Okay, this is very important, this movement, because in soccer, in football, you never really run in a straight line. You always have to change direction. And this is where you start to change the direction, especially under the head of the first metatarsal. Which is very important is that the studs in this part should be circular, because it's going to help you to twist and not blocking the foot and not twisting the knee. I explain. If you get any blades, here they twist the blades. They put it in this way, horizontal way, and that's a vertical one. If you get blades which are like that, but in this place, you're going to grip too much the ground. You will block this articulation. You will not be able to twist it, to turn, to pivot. And if you block it, your knee will twist, and you get this ligament injury, which happens quite often with some kind of players. Due to the fact that the blades get a better grip, more aggressive than studs, circular one. Okay. The second thing, which is very important also, is the size of the shoe. You're going to have the good shoe size. Why? Because if it's too big or too small, this first metatarsal phalanges joint will not be at the good place, will move back or in the front. And if you got the studs just under it, below this joint, you will not be able to move it. And could create also some kind of stress fracture of these two small bones, the sesamoid bones, which is very painful. Some players know what I'm talking about. To overcome this problem, there is an effective solution: insoles. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next part.